Okay, class, before we go to labor and parturition, I thought I would go as do organogenesis. This is the formation of the organs in the embryo and fetus. Gastrulation, which is the formation of the three germ layers, germination, ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm, sets the stage for organogenesis, the formation of body organs. By the 8th week, all organ systems are recognizable. Okay, about the the 5th week is the heart starts working. Neuralation, the first event of organogenesis, gives rise to the brain and spinal cord. Ectoderm over the notochord forms, and we won't get real heavy, but here is something called the notochord. Here's ectoderm. You start forming this neural plate. And then the neural plate starts folding in, remember migration differentiation, to a neural groove. And then this neural groove is going to close over and form the neural tube. Now, once it closes over and forms the neural tube, then you'll have cephalization, which means right here, this would be when it closes over and forms this neural tube, the most anterior cephalid part, shall I say, will form the brain, and the rest will form the spinal cord. And so the neural folds fuse into a neural tube, which pinches off. Let's go back. Here's a neural plate. Right here, this neural fold is going to come over. Here's the neural crest. The neural crest is going to eventually form the spinal nerves and things. Here we go here. Now here's that neural crest right there. Here's that neural tube trying to form. These are folds. Okay, eventually it will close, as you see here. And then when that closes, right here, neural crest cells right there. This is the surface ectoderm. And this is going to form the spinal cord and brain there. Okay. So here we are again, looking at this folding of the embryonic body. Then this whole aspect here is going to fold in. All of this here is going to fold in and do the body right there. These are going to form somites, which will be like the ribs and so forth like that there. Okay, I'm going to go further. All of this is formed. See, the neural tissue forms from ectoderm. Connective tissue, remember bone and so forth and muscle, are going to form from mesoderm. And the endoderm is going to form things like the GI tract and so forth. Okay. All right. Here's endodermal differentiation, and you can see here verse that you can study on. We have this notochord. 3 mesoderms appear lateral to the notochord. Okay. Somites, intermediate mesoderm. This is going to form bone, muscle areas. We go further. The 40 pairs of somites have 3. The sclerotome produce the vertebrae and ribs. Dermatome, the dermis of the skin. Remember, the dermis of the skin is a connective tissue, which means it's come from mesoderm. Myotome is going to do the muscles. Intermediate mesoderm will form the gonads and the kidneys. Okay, so we'll come here. There we are there. Closing over. Okay. Parietal sarosa up in here. Here's that notochord. Notochord is going to regress eventually. Okay, smooth muscle of the gut here. Okay. So what we're looking at, 3rd week, paired vessels. And again, you can look at this. Now, we talked about this in the heart. The ductus venosus bypasses the liver. We looked at that earlier. That means blood coming in from the umbilical vein would bypass that. foraminal valley, the opening between the right atrium and left atrium. We talked about this in cardiac physiology. And the ductus arteriosus, the communication between the pulmonary artery and the aorta. Okay. Here we are here looking at some of these that you can study. Okay. These are changes that you'll see in pregnancy. The vagina becomes purplish. That's called the Chadwick signs. The breast enlarge and their areola darken. The uterus expands. Lordosis, which is kind of a sway back, common because of the way of the center of gravity is pulling. Relaxin is a hormone that relaxes the pelvic ligaments. Typical weight gain the female will have, which she should lose after pregnancy. Here again is what we call the fundus. Doctors measure the fundal height. That's the fundal height to kind of give the estimation of the weeks of gestation. Okay, something you can study on. We already talked about the different hormones that are secreted by the placenta. The placenta secretes human placental lactogen, also called somatomammacrine, which stimulates maturation of the breast, promotes growth of the fetus, increases maternal metabolism. Parathyroid, remember, is the hormone for calcium balance, one of them, the major one. The GI tract, somewhat of morning sickness may occur. A lot of that sometimes has to do with progesterone even more than estrogen. Progesterone slows down smooth muscle motility. Urinary system, urine output increases because, again, you're handling fetal waste, but you also have an increased maternal blood volume. Respiratory system, edematous and nasal congestion. Because the uterus starts to ascend, it may push on the diaphragm and cause the woman to have to breathe a little faster. More breaths per minute than deeper. Okay. Cardiovascular system, blood volume increases, as we talked about before. Okay. Estrogen peaks during the last week, causing a mild menstrual weakness and inability. Braxton Hicks contractions are these weak, what we call false contractions that a female will have. As birth nears, oxytocin causes uterine contractions. So I'm going to close this one and start parturition and labor on the next one.